Welcome back to the Flippin' Ain't Easy channel. Wanted to talk to you today about scamming, sort of piggybacking off of my last video. For those of you who have not seen that video, right there. But in the meantime, want to talk to you about scamming and a situation specifically that I dealt with about 6 months ago. But it's a prime example of how undermining some of these customers can be. Also, we're going to do a live return unboxing, and so you're gonna see with me what I get back in this return, and I'll talk to you more about that near the end of the video. So without any further ado, let's go. Scams suck, bottom line. And you never know what customer is going to scam you. And the more expensive the item is that you're selling, the more it's in the back of your mind. If you've been selling on eBay for quite some time and have been scammed at least one time, every transaction after that point, anything that has a high value, trust me, it's going to be in the back of your mind. You start looking at feedback. You start looking into the customer. You certainly hope that, you're doing your part. You're selling a legitimate item. You've described the item as clearly as you can. And now you're just hoping that the customer doesn't do something crazy and decide to send this thing back, right? But to make things worse, if they do send it back, you certainly hope they send the item that you sent them in the same condition that you sent them. Sort of like I'm hoping with this return that we're going to be opening up here at the end of this video. So before we get to that, I wanted to talk to you about, it wasn't a return, it was a scam that happened back in December. So I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but in October of last year, I sold a router similar to this right here, okay? This particular router, you can see it's selling for about $1,500, and I sold mine for $1,200, right? And so I gave a good deal to whoever bought it, plus the cost of shipping, which was about $79, okay? And I thought I was doing business with a company in Illinois. So when I sent the label, I felt fairly confident that this was going to be a good transaction because the server was in good shape. As you can see, $1,500, and I sold it for $1,200, okay, plus the cost of shipping. This particular buyer, it's an established business. So knowing that this server is in mint condition, brand new, still in the bags, it came in one of my liquidation pallets from a Walmart liquidation pallet. I never thought Walmart even sold servers, but here I am. I have this server here. And so I saw that it had some value. I saw that there were some previous sales, and I was very hopeful to be able to sell this. And as luck would have it, I sold it for $1,200. I was happy because the pallet that I purchased was only about $2,000. So, I had another 300 items in that pallet. This paid for most of it. So, but in the back of my mind, I sort of evaluated, is this going to be an eventual scam? And by the look of the address and the actual fact that it was a company and not a private party, I felt confident about that. And this particular buyer has quite a bit of feedback. For those of you who are wondering, the buyer's name is Discount Warrior. That's Discount Warrior with a period in between. Okay. Do not sell to this buyer. I blocked this buyer as soon as this happened. But they have a lot of activity over the last month. You can look at that, and they're still buying out there. So might be someone you want to block. They have a nice little picture. Turns out that they're in Austria, okay? And so, I didn't really look at that far into it when I sold the item. I just looked at the address and felt fairly confident that it was going to be a successful transaction. And after the 30-day mark, still heard from nobody. And so I thought, hey, money's in the bank, everything's fine. And I went on with my life. And here comes December. And I get this message from eBay stating that there has been a dispute from Discount Warrior, and this particular person was disputing it through their credit card company, and there was going to be a hold on any funds. And at the time, it was right around Christmas, I had quite a bit in my managed payments ready to actually be sent to me, and that was all held up. That was all put on hold. So in fact, I think it put me in a deficit to where any future sales were also going to be held until that $1,200 and something after shipping, $1,280, was going to be recouped. So very frustrating, you know, and it's right before Christmas time, and this happens. So, you know, here I am freaking out. And so based on experiences that I've had with eBay, I just knew that this money was lost. And because I was burned before with a pair of AirPods that someone with zero feedback bought from me, and they totally opened a case with their credit card company, and they won. They weren't even required to return the item back to me. So that was a loss, and it was disappointing. $125 down the drain. Well, this is a lot more. It's 10 times the amount. So I started to panic a little bit, but I didn't want to go down without a fight. And so, as you can see, I drafted this particular letter here, and the letter states, "To whom it may concern." Now, this is a good idea to come back to this video if you ever get scammed, or if you're dealing with a situation where you have a credit card dispute where it's not really eBay that's opening the case, or the buyer opening it through eBay. It's the buyer going to their credit card company and disputing the charges. And per credit card rules, anytime you open a case as a buyer through your credit card company, that money is instantly frozen, and it's automatically taken off of your balance, and it's held until the case is decided. If it's decided against the buyer, it goes back on with interest. If it's decided against the seller, then that particular balance is wiped out. And it's another scam that customers do, and they do it with retail, they do it with eBay in this case. So basically, that's the kind of letter that you need to write, okay? It needs to have the what. So what is it that is being disputed? The when, right? And you're going to go in and you're going to put in there your side of the story in the second paragraph, and then the last paragraph, you're going to sum it all up, okay? And to thank them for their time and consideration. And this was really something that was about 2 pages. But because I had to put this in a JPEG file, you can't put a Word document on as an eBay attachment. I had to put this in a JPEG file, and it was definitely not something that was very easy to do. So I thought, you know, this is the best that I'm going to be able to do. I wasn't very hopeful, but about 2 weeks later, I got a message stating that the buyer had adjusted their claim amount from $1,201 to $601. I guess they thought, well, let's at least try to get half of our money back. I don't know how that would have either furthered their case. Either they were legitimately filing a case here for the item that I sold them, not as described, or they're just trying to play games. I don't know, but maybe that was part of the decision that, hey, these guys aren't being upfront if they're trying to adjust the amount they're trying to get back. Another week passed, and I received a message stating that the case was closed in my favor, and I wouldn't have to pay anything, and the funds were released. And so that was a huge weight off of my back, right? And that was pretty awesome, to be honest with you. And so this was a good news story, but it doesn't always work out that way. And especially if you're not on top of things. You have to be willing to take an hour when this kind of thing happens and fight for your money. That's your money. And the customer is trying to steal your item, okay, after using it. This was what? They had used it for 2 months? Not my fault if they burn it up. So I'm going to fight for that. And so I advocate to you that you should be doing the same. Do not let these customers walk all over you. If they file a complaint through eBay, through their credit card company, yes, contact eBay, but don't take the first no as an answer, okay? Ask to speak to someone in the dispute department. And I go a little bit further because I know how call centers work. I know the call center in the Philippines, if you happen to get a Philippines agent, is not going to be proactive to help you, and they're going to be more scripted. You need to ask for someone in managed payments. Have them, and we're all going to be on managed payments next month, which is great. So even if you're on PayPal right now, I'd still be asking for someone in managed payments. Why ask for someone in managed payments? Because you're guaranteed to get someone in either the Utah or the Texas office. And almost every time you get someone who is proactive and will actually have a conversation with you about the situation. Whether the case ends up on your side or not, at least you know you spoke to someone and were able to voice your concerns about the particular situation and get a real answer, not just a scripted one. And so that's a good news story. But the moral of the story is you need to fight for your account. This is your business, okay? And yes, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Taking that time writing that letter was inconvenient. You know what? Come back to this video. If you ever have a situation like this, and if you sell for the next couple of years and sell thousands of items like I have, it's going to happen to you. Come back to this video. Take a look at this screenshot that I showed you with the letter. Take as much of it as you want. Be as detailed as you can, and be thorough about it. But there is hope. It isn't all doom and gloom when it comes to eBay cases against the seller. So now, want to go into my return. Okay, I have an active return right now. I received in the liquidation pallet that you guys may have watched a few weeks ago. Bought a liquidation pallet from directliquidation.com. And in that pallet, I received something that looked like, it was called an Epic, looked like a Chromebook or a laptop. And so got it in, started testing it, fired it up, plugged it in, and it immediately booted to the setup screen. So everything looked fine, everything looked clean, and so I powered it off. I didn't want to set it up because that's for the buyer to do. And so I took photos with the screen on, took quite a few photos. As you can see, it has the photo of the screen on. And I sold it. It wasn't that expensive of an item. You know, I thought it was going to be a couple $100. Turns out it was about $100. And so I did $89.99. It wasn't in a very big box. And shipping on this, believe it or not, was only like $12. That's using Pirate Ship with the cubic rate shipping. In this particular case, you know, a couple days after she received this item, I get a message stating that the item wouldn't power on, and she thought that there was a problem with the actual power cable. And so, you know, here I am like going, wow, I'm like, I tested this thing out. I know it works. And so I offered to send her another power cable to buy one. It was like $10. And she said, no, she already did that. And so she would know. Thankfully, she contacted me before she filed a return. But she stated she received the adapter and it still didn't work. And she was hoping to be able to keep it. She didn't want to send it back. So I sent her a return label, and about a couple days later, I get back this box, and it's not in good condition, this box, but we're going to find out what we got here, okay? So, and this opening here is how it came. I didn't try to open this at all. I don't use priority rate boxes very often. I use my cubic shipping. I don't even need this. So, let's see what we got, okay? So first of all, you get a random piece of cardboard. That's not a good sign. And you got your favorite thing called duct tape. I didn't duct tape this box. And I don't know why one needs to duct tape the box if they're putting it in a priority mail box. The only thing I could think of is that they actually, I can't find the, oh, here it is. The only thing I can think of is that they actually were planning on shipping it like this, and they got to the post office and they shipped it in the priority box. So here we go. It looks kind of scratched up from what I remember. It's the Epic laptop here. It looks kind of scratched up. Okay. Has some scratches here. I'm starting to be concerned that this has actually maybe been swapped out. I'd have to look at the photos in more depth on the serial number on the bottom, because that's going to determine if this was something that was swapped out or not. Customers do that a lot. They take an item that's broken, they go buy one on eBay or Amazon, they then open a case with eBay and they complain that the item was broken or not as described. And so we're going to find out right here. So, okay, sorry for that delay. Thank you for waiting for me. I've plugged this in and my power adapter is on. And now the funny thing is, I just saw a blue light on the laptop. And as you can see, the laptop looks like it's on, or at least it's charging, but as you can see in the photo, this thing was powering on. I don't understand why it's doing this. It shows that the adapter must be fine because this wouldn't be on. So it's either the internal battery or something else is funny. Or, like we'll find out here in a little bit, hopefully, if I have a photo of the serial number, and if I didn't take one, shame on me. But it could be a different laptop altogether. It could be a swap out. So essentially my options are this, and this is what your options are. You want to evaluate the item. Is it in the same condition? I would say sort of. I mean, as long as it powers up, but they're complaining that the item didn't work. So I really don't have a lot to stand on. Theoretically, it could actually have been damaged en route. But we're gonna give this a shot. Maybe let it sit on the charger. It's not an item that should be something that needs to be charged. It should power up when it's plugged in. But I'll just sit it down for a little bit and take a look at that a little bit later. What can you do in this particular case? And that's simple. If you are a top-rated seller and you offer 30-day returns, it doesn't have to be free. You do get the option to deduct up to 50% of the value, or not the value, but the cost of the item. Okay, whatever it's sold for, you can deduct 50% of that. If you're not top-rated seller and you offer free 30-day returns, you have to be at least above standard. If you offer free 30-day returns, you also have access to that tool as part of your refund process. So I'm going to have to look at all that and see, probably in this case, because I can't really see that it's that big of a difference condition-wise, it's going to be a full refund, even if I can't get this thing to work, because I can't, the buyer communicated with me in good faith. We had a good conversation about it. She did make an effort to buy a charger for it, and of course she's out of pocket for that. So, I don't think here this was a scam, okay? My hope was that maybe it was just a situation where she didn't know how to turn it on. I mean, I'd hate for that to have been the case, but I don't know. I'm going to have to do some research on this particular item. So, yeah, so that's a live return, and in this particular case, it's just the cost of doing business. And I'm going to have to give her money back, and I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with this item. Sometimes people buy these things and fix them. I maybe can get 20, 30 bucks for it on an auction, and that might be the only way to resolve this situation, get some of my money back. But then again, this item wasn't even on the manifest. It was an item that was in that pallet, and I didn't expect to receive it. So just got to expect for these kind of things to happen when you're a reseller on eBay. It's the ups and downs of doing business on this platform, or really any platform for that matter. And it just, you can't let it get you down, because the first few returns you get are going to be a bummer. And sometimes you kind of want to quit, especially if it's a higher priced item. But you got to hang in there and continue just listing, doing the best you can, provide clear photos, an accurate description of the condition and exactly what you're selling, okay? So hopefully this information was helpful to someone. And if you appreciated the information on this video, or if I somehow entertained you today, please give me some likes, smash that like button. Consider subscribing to my channel. We are getting a lot of subscribers. We're trying to build our subscriber base because, you know, videos like these are very educational and they help the newer sellers out there have an idea of what they can do should they face a return or possible scam situation. So with that being said, I want to thank you for your time, taking the time to get this far through the video. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your day.